Hi guys, welcome back to this series on Android app development using Kotlin. So today we are going to remove some of the hard dependencies by adding Hilt. So basically if you come to the view model, you can see that we are directly initializing customer repository here. So you can see we are calling this customer repository, and if we go to customer repositories, we are actually hard coding all this base URL and stuff, which means that if we want to test it with some other URL, we have to come and change the code every time, which is not good for testing. So if we go by the definition, Hilt is basically a dependency injection library for Android that reduces the boilerplate of manual dependency injection. So dependency injection, if you don't know, is a design pattern where instead of the consumer class like an activity or a fragment asking for dependencies by initializing them by name, they just tell these are the dependencies that I need. So whenever they are instantiated, this dependency injection framework will inject those dependencies there. So let's see it little bit in action and then we can figure it out. So this is the path, or this is the code given by Android to help us integrate. So let's start with this. So you can see first we need to open the project. So root build.gradle, customer list, project root, and then we add this here. Now we go to the module build Gradle and let's add those dependencies. So these are the ones basically. So Hilt Android and Hilt compiler 238.1, and now we can do sync now. So here they have given a lot more options. So how to use it with Jetpack. Jetpack is the support library, the advanced version of the support library, and what else we need to do. So let's keep checking. So if something that we are missing here is the application class, which is like the first class which is instantiated when your app is launched. So let's add it here. So customer app, which extends application. So this is Android app application, and we will mark it as Hilt Android app. And then our activities and framework will become Android entry point. Which means the dependency framework will start looking for dependencies to be injected there. So for now, our details fragment and list fragment and even the activity don't need much of injections, but it is good to know here. So before we start dependency injection, we need to create a module which will help us override it later. So let's create a package for DI. DI stands for dependency injection, and we're going to create a customer module. So this is basically a module installs in activity component. Okay, we just need the class, and from here we are going to provide the dependencies. So this is the actual dependency instance that will be injected. So let's have two. So one is to get the customer service, which is given by retrofit. So this we can just get from the repository. So all these things basically we will move to this module. So okay, need to update the return type. Okay, now likewise we will have one more function to get the repository itself. So So depending on your use case, whether you are testing live data or mock data, you can switch the repository itself, or you can switch just the service by adding one more base URL. So now we will update the repository by passing the customer service. So now if you notice, customer repository actually needs it in the constructor, but how do we get that? So we can just add an inject dependency here, which means the dependency injection framework will know that, okay, it needs to get the dependency from somewhere. So which would be actually, and we can return customer repository, which just takes customer service as the constructor parameter. Okay, hold on. Okay, somehow this is giving an error, so I will show you one more way of providing a dependency. So let us just go to customer repository and create an inject constructor. So inject constructor. So now whenever customer repository is needed, the Hilt will actually come and fill this dependency for us, and it will create the instance of customer repository. We will do the same for the view model, which we will also mark as a Hilt view model. And now we will have an inject constructor, which will take the customer repository. So instead of repository, it will be calling customer repository. Okay, need to make it visible. Okay. So most of the changes are done. Let us see if it works, or did we miss out something? So you can see with little bit code changes, but just by adding Hilt, we have actually reduced any kind of hard dependency. So view model does not know which customer repository is being injected. You can actually extend it by adding more features, or you can change it during testing time by adding or just giving it a mock repository. And even when we create the customer service, we can actually pass another class which is pointing to another base URL, which can be a mock server. So we don't have to change a lot of code during testing, and we can easily test all the scenarios. Okay, there is some error which says cannot be provided without a provides annotation method. They're actually looking for activity retained component, but we have actually provided activity component. So activity component stays alive while the activity is alive and not killed, but activity retained component, which is more applicable for view model, stays alive even if the activity goes into background or is killed and then recreated. So let's try with the retained component. Okay, so we're getting one more error where it's saying, did you forget to apply the Gradle plugin? So I guess we did. So for this, go to the module level build Gradle, and as we have added the plugins here, we will add this one. So again, sync now and run. It's finally it worked. The issue was that the Kotlin Gradle plugin had to be changed to 1.5.21 from 1.5.20. This might show you a warning, but let it be this. So I was not able to figure out the error directly. These happen sometimes due to the mismatch between IDE and Kotlin and a lot of other things, some things which are beyond our control. They can be frustrating, but if you look around, you will find a result. But it's always better to ask someone. So let's see. It's crashing. Let's see what is the reason. Okay, so what we did was we created the customer app. This is our main application, but the Android does not know that we have created an application class. How will it know is by going to the manifest and adding a name tag. So basically we have this customer app now, which is a Hilt Android app. So now as soon as your app is launched, this is the first class that is going to be initialized. So if you want to do some of this handling or logging, you can do it here. Okay, so everything works as is as before, but we have the DI framework now. So in the next video, we are actually going to see how to do a very simple test case, UI test case, to verify all these scenarios. See you then.